Coach here at Metcalf for the last 37 years. I wish more, but not to be. On this packet that you have, if you didn't get one, they're back there. Please take it home with you. It's got some information you may want. On page 2 is a roster of people in the club and the emails of their parents, in case, like, at some point you might want to form carpools or something like that, or you have some contact information right there. If something is wrong on there, you know, we have the wrong email or whatever, please talk to Ann after the meeting. She's the one that coordinates all that. On page 8 of your packet, we have, I don't know if you've seen it when the snow's not there, but we have the biggest chess set board in Minnesota out in front of the building that our club, probably about 10 years ago, actually built, okay? And we have some pieces that go with it. They're in teak, hand-carved teak pieces, and it's a $10,000 chess set. It's still, and so what some people have done is they've adopted a piece, and you're welcome to do that, where you would get your name on a little plaque engraved on the piece permanently, and it just kind of there's some upkeep with the board and the pieces itself. When they break a little bit, or when the board needs cleaning every few years, it costs several $100s. So we use any money here to help upkeep that board. Anyway, so if you want to, the kings and queens have all been adopted. Other pieces are available. Then on page 9, if you've ever seen that board, 9 and 10, there is the way we helped pay for that board is I sent a letter to all my past alumni of 37, well, that time it was like 30 years, saying that, hey, we're building this huge chess board because we believe that we like Metcalf chess players to think big, so we wanted the biggest chess set in Minnesota out in front of the building. To pay for it, we have these bricks around it with that people can put whatever they want on it. You know, like a lot of them put their name or what years they were in the Metcalf Club or whatnot. And anyway, what's happened in the past is a lot of people will, if they've been in the program for like 2 or 3 years, they will, when they leave, they'll buy a brick so that they can be permanently engraved there. Now, I realize that next year the school is, well, we're not sure what the use will be of Metcalf at this point. They're still deciding, but except we know what it will not be, and that is a middle school. But that board will still be, I have a lot of former players that come back to look at it and see their engraving and all that. So consider getting a brick, and then we'll install it this fall if you buy one. So that's all explained on pages 10 and 11. No, 9 and 10, sorry. On page 11, I thought I'd throw this in. I threw some news articles in there. So at this winter meeting, here's a little article that was in the Star Tribune in 2015 that you might find interesting. Any questions on all that? If there is any questions tonight, please don't be afraid to raise your hand and talk about it. All right, we better start to hit some of the more brass tacks, so let's go to page 3. Okay. Now, this page I did go over at the winter meeting, but there's some things on it that are starting to become pertinent now with the time that I should re-emphasize. Okay, one of them is number 7, the Minnesota Junior High Chess League. Okay, teams are invited throughout the any junior high or middle school in the state could enter this. This is our season, which is actually starts next week. So we have 3 parts of the year. We have the preseason, which ends pretty much Tuesday, a week from this Tuesday. The preseason ends. Then we have the season, which starts next week on Friday. Then we have the postseason, and so we're about to start the season. That's why I asked you to come tonight to talk about what a chess season is, because some of you may not have been on, like Amy, on a chess team when you were in middle school, and you don't know, well, what's a chess season? What is that all about? What does it mean? Okay, so in this league, you play teams of 5 against other teams of 5. So our current A team, for example, will be entered in the league. And when we enter, if we play another school, let's say we play Heritage Middle School, our first board will play their first board. Our second board will play their second board, etc. And then at the end of that match, they will have a score of, say 3-2 or 4-1, you know. So that is how that works. And then individuals who win over 80% of their games could also win a individual trophy as well, as where the team could be declared, for example, the state league champion if they win the thing. I've also entered the Metcalf B team, which is right here, and the Metcalf C team. Now, because players will be sometimes have commitments or be sick, you know, if I just brought the top 15, we could be shorthanded. So what I take to the league is the top 25 players. They're called the traveling team. They're in the top 25, and you can see right there with that. Now that could change. You know, like next week on Tuesday, there's another day of challenging, and that could change a little bit throughout the season. People are still shifting up and down because we have a ladder tournament going on where they're playing each other and moving up and down the ladder. So it's the top 25, and it's going to go on for 5 weeks on Fridays. 5 Fridays in a row, except for 1 week, the week of February 14th, that week, Valentine's week. There is a huge tournament called the Minnesota Open on a Friday. And so there's no league that week. 5 straight weeks except for that week, if that makes sense. And because I don't want, as a coach, I really like kids this age doing many different activities. I don't like them just to say, okay, you're a one track. That's all you can do is hockey or whatever it is. I believe in doing several things. So therefore, I do not want to burn my players out by saying, okay, you have to come 3 days a week. So therefore, for these next 5 weeks, starting next week, there is no chess club on Thursdays, but there is something called open chess, and that's on here too. Open chess is a optional. I had one last Friday. An optional meeting where we play blitz games where people who are absent can get caught up on their progress charts, and they could play round robin games, they could play fun games. I usually bring in some snacks, and so there will be chess on Thursdays for the next 5 weeks, but it's not required for anybody. However, if you're not in the top 25, it's probably a good idea especially to come, so you're still getting 2 days of chess a week. If you're in the top 25 and you want to do 3 days a week, that's there for you. Now with the league, and I do have, and I'll show you in a few minutes, if you want to look ahead, it's on page 5, the actual schedule. Okay, like where do we play, what date do we play them? So like 3 of the 5 matches are away matches where we have a bus. So starting a week from tomorrow, we're taking a bus after school to Friendly Hills Middle School in Mendota Heights. So that match will probably start about 3:40. There'll be 2 matches that day, 2 rounds, and 2 different schools. Then we'll take a bus back here, and we'll probably be back around maybe 6:30. You know, I don't know exactly because I'm not sure about the traffic patterns and the weather and all this and that, but typically the first match will go from 3:40 to 4:40, and the next match will go from about 4:45 to 5:45, and then or at the latest they'll be done by around 6, and then we take a bus back. And I really need to know, like at least a day in advance, if any of the children cannot make it to the match, because I don't want to be shorthanded and have to take a forfeit. If I know that these 3 people can't come, then I'll notify these people here, hey, we need you, okay? And what happens is the other schools also bring extra players. And so what we have available, if they're not starting that day, remember the only ones that are starting in the regular league are 3 teams of 5. And typically, for example, if you're right around here, you're almost always going to start because someone's going to have an issue or be gone or something up there. But there's scrimmage matches that we're going to have for the D and the E team. So they'll still be getting in their games, but they're not official league games, but they're scrimmage games. And so against kids from other schools, so they don't have to just play their own selves over and over again here at club. Now, can parents come and watch? Yes. Will it be as exciting as watching your kid in a basketball game? Probably not, unless you're really, really into chess, okay? So it's not like you can sit on the sidelines and cheer every time they make a good move. You know, it just doesn't work like that. But you're welcome to come, but it typically is not really a spectator type of a sport. However, you can. And then they'll be able to call for a ride when they're back, or most of them have cell phones, you know, and I'll make sure they're supervised till they get picked up. Now, I want to stop at that point and see if there's questions about the season, which starts next week.
When they're going to be gone and not back until like 6:30, do we need to be sending them a pocket money for concessions or a McDonald's stuff, or is it, you know, send them with a snack?
I'd say a snack is a good idea. Some of these schools have vending machines,
Okay.
you know, but there's no concessions being sold, but some schools have vending machines, and they're welcome to use it if they have some money. But I usually give out just a teeny snack, a cookie or something. But yes, that's a good question. I guess we could look at number 10 right now, on page 3, number 10. We have, I myself am not a chess master. I find it very helpful for children to learn from an actual master. Therefore, we have lessons that will be starting in February, 3 different levels: advanced beginner, intermediate, and advanced. They're all here at Metcalf. They're about once every 10 days to 2 weeks, approximately. And they're in this room mostly. And you'll be getting flyers next week in the mail about them. And they're highly, highly recommended if your child wants to improve the most, is to sit with a master. And these not only are master players, they're master teachers as well. So I like to make a pitch for those.
Mr. McNick, do those lessons then count for the nationals trip, or do we have to do those separate?
You mean, are they required? Is that what you mean by count?
Yeah, because they have to train with master for the nationals.
Yes. If you're a parent of a veteran, then they are required, or at least to take those, or take an equal number from a private coach
Okay.
who's a master.
Okay.
If you're the parent of a rookie, you have to at least go to one for free to see what it's all about. And then that's all you have to do for requirements. But I can tell you this: those that take those lessons, if they do go to Florida for nationals or Nashville next year, will do better if they attend those lessons. And those lessons also include kids from around the district, like all the way from second or third grade all the way up to 12th grade. And they also can include some students from outside the district as well. Okay? All right, that was page 3. Let's move to page 4. Again, many of these things on page 3 I covered on the meeting in December. So that's why I'm kind of skipping around pretty much. As far as number 4, page 4, at the top, helping out the team. Well, one, of course, is to help with rides. For example, if there's a big tournament, I'm hoping, let's say in Plymouth or wherever, I'm hoping, let's say 25 of our kids want to go. Well, I don't see it so critical that 25 cars have to drive there. I'm hoping that people will carpool. Hey, I'll drive one way, someone else can drive back. I'm big on the helping the environment too. Another way you could help out the team is be a part of the independent fundraising committee, chaired by Andy Johnson. And here to talk a little bit about what they do is one of the members of that, Mrs. Stage. You want to come up?
Mainly, we need parents. We need parents around the clock just like our kids. When they play chess, we need the parents' support. What we do for fundraising, we do all kinds of stuff. We're big on doing concession stands, but unfortunately now we don't have any tournaments here, so we had to make a little change. Right now what we have coming up, back on page 3, I see Mr. Rudnick had this ready to go, kind of. We changed it up to fundraising, where we're doing 3 or 4 events at Cub Foods. We're going to be bagging groceries. The last time we did it, we made almost $1,800
And
in
that
2
was
days.
a 2-day thing, right?
That was a 2-day event. We also have something big coming up called the Ballman Brewery Get-Together, and this is our 2nd year of doing that. 3rd, thank you. And that's huge for us for advertising to everybody in the area about the chess club. We sell tickets for that. We have a small silent auction there. We have hors d'oeuvres at Ballman Brewery down on Highway 13 in Egan, right on Soto Bell Road. It's a good way for parents to get together, talk to each other, talk to us about, chess and the kids. We have trivia and information about all the years of Mr. Ribnick and stuff like that, and just meeting members of the community. That's a big event. That one's coming up in April. April 4th is our tentative date for doing that, and we're asking if parents can help sell tickets, talk to your neighbors, talk to your coworkers, introduce them to chess, have them come down and talk to us, talk to the coach, talk to veterans. A lot of veterans show up for this event.
And come run some games. It's really fun.
Yes, and you will also get to run some games, which I'll pull into next here. We need, every year we do what we call like a share. For how much money we make to raise for the club, to send our kids to nationals, we have kind of a way of splitting that money up called shares. And if you volunteer time to help the chess club, say you volunteer to bag groceries, you volunteer at Ballman Brewery, you volunteer for the silent auction, which is what we're going to be having coming up March 21st, which will be at Plymouth Middle School. Unfortunately, it won't be here. We need help hauling things. We need help getting donations. Anything you can do to help toward that cause, you earn credits and hours.
I don't know who gave
So
you
the thing is, even if you don't have a lot of time, if you can just fill envelopes, or run envelopes to the post office, or help haul lights and cords, anything you can do to help for the chess club, that helps us immensely, and we can do more work in less time and help raise money to send these kids to nationals. And if you've never been to nationals before, and I don't know if you have or not, it's quite the opportunity. It's worth all the volunteer time you put in. And just to see those kids on the stage, see those kids play against other kids from around the United States in a huge auditorium. We're all together for 3 days, 4 days in a hotel together, in a team room, and they work their magic. And these kids are phenomenal, and then they get rewarded afterwards. They get to have a party, they get to visit sites they've never seen before, especially in a city they've never been to. Flying together, doing everything together as a team, it's all worth the volunteer time. And you guys make that happen for these kids. So really, please think about helping us volunteer, getting some hours in. You earn money towards your child's credit if you sell pizzas. We're doing a pizza fundraiser right now. I think I sent that out to everybody. You all have the forms. Sell some pizzas. Your child gets 45% of every pizza sold. Your child directly. We're doing a Von Hansen's fundraiser in March. Your child will get $5 for every coupon they sell. And that goes into their account towards nationals, or if they don't go to nationals, a team event here, the Winter Open if they play there, maybe some parties. It helps your child immensely. Okay? If you have any questions about fundraising or about being on the independent team, or even taking a P team position next year, because we are going to have spots available, please talk to me. Like I said, I'm a rookie this year, but I've been doing this for so long, I kind of jumped back into it, and it's worth it. Even as a PT member, you get something toward, you know, you or your child for their
You get some
chest
shares.
shares, the shares.
Yep.
I knew it was coming sooner or later. So any questions, please talk to me. I also do the communications, so I can tell you anything you really want to know or have questions about, or what you can do to get started. I'll be back there.
All something you should be afraid of. Here's some of the roles that can be done on that committee. Like maybe you could be the person that writes the thank you notes to someone who donated, or the person that picks up the food at the Mediterranean cruise and brings it over to the tap room for the our big event there. Or it could be just something that small, but being on the committee, you kind of get to meet the other people and get to help brainstorm ideas. So.
Team stand for parent.
It's a good question. Oh, is that ever a good question?
But I'm also volunteering.
Okay, so let me talk about how it got started. So it got started way back in the early '80s. Okay, we used to have like because the school used to have 3 times as many students as it has now, believe it or not, and so we had so many kids in the club. We had over 100 kids in the club, right? And so not only do we have an A team, a B team, a C team, D team, E team, F, G, H. Here's the I team, J, the K team. And we had all the way down to, usually it never got to the P. Okay, we got to like O. Okay, and then so the first person, so it's a parent booster group is what it is. You've heard of that word. And so the first person, Mrs. Jakubowski, who still lives in Egan, she said, well, let's name this the P team. Since you don't seem to ever get to the P team, we'll call the parent team. So it's named for it's the parent team, but it's also kind of a takeoff of all this is the name of our booster club. So that's a very good question that you asked. All right, well, if you want to join Mrs. Eastman and be brave, come to see me or Ann before you leave tonight, because we'll be available afterwards for questions. Okay, now we're moving to page 4 of your packet if you're not there. So I want to focus in on this. I didn't cover it at the December meeting. How are the approximately 25 players, including the top 5 6th graders, selected, at least the top 5 6th graders, you know. How are they selected to attend nationals? I'm going to say a little bit about this. Metcalf, as you might have known, has won the 2nd most national titles of any team in the country. The School 318 from New York. Okay, we won it last year, for example. And one of the secrets to our success is, first of all, I have to let you know that the only way we can be successful is if your kids are there. Okay, if they're here in Minnesota that weekend, our top players, especially anyone, especially, you know, for at least the top 25, if they're not there, our success chances will go down dramatically. So I implore you to consider giving this a chance to work. Okay. The other thing we've created over the years is this fundraising committee and this booster club that this year I expect there to be almost like $30,000 available. Okay? I'm telling you that we are going to make this affordable for everyone. We will not make money a problem. Okay? And that's one of the reasons we've been successful. Because the parents that believed in the program, they've realized that it's going to be affordable, and they've done whatever it can be to make it happen. And now, if I'm planning to continue on at Nicollet next year, so if hopefully your children who will be there, and the same rules will apply for the Super Nationals in 2021 in Nashville, Tennessee, as it is for April in Jacksonville, Florida of this year. How are they selected? Please stop and ask me any questions you have. First of all, I have 55 players on the Metcalf Chess Club. Okay, and you know, I'm not crazy enough to say I'm going to take 55 players across the country. Okay, I'm a little bit crazy, but I'm not that crazy. Okay, and so I want to limit it to 25. And besides that, not all 55 are probably ready. But I'd say a good percentage of them will be ready by April. Okay? I'll make sure. And in the 37 years I've been here at Metcalf for coaching, I have always, I've never cut a player from going. I've never said, oh, you're board 52. I'm sorry, you're not going. I've never had to. I've never had to say to a person they can't go. Every one of these is called the students cut themselves from nationals. I do not cut them. They cut themselves by, I'm not using cut in any bad way, you know. But anyway, so the first thing I do is I ask, are the students interested? And that happened today. I handed out a form to all 50-some students saying, are you interested in going to nationals? That's it. Do you want to go to, we'll be gone for, they will miss 4 days of school. They will be flying on a plane to, we'll probably be going into Orlando and take a bus to Jacksonville. It's much cheaper that way. So, and I said, you have to give me your form back by next week, end of next week, okay? Already today, about 20-some handed one in already, okay? And so I don't want to, I know, if a person says, look, I like playing chess at club, but I'm not really into competing, you know, and this and that, that's okay. I don't have a problem with that at all. So, number one. Number two, are the parents interested? So, next week after I get the final sheets in from your kids, I'm going to send each of you a email saying, your child has, I don't know exactly the wording of it, has expressed interest in going to Jacksonville, Florida, the last weekend of April for the National Junior High Chess Championship. Please tell me by next week on such and such a date, are you interested in that? Now, when you get that email, don't put the price in there at all. Like, just assume it's nothing, even though it might not be exactly nothing, but don't answer based on the price. Then I'll give you about a week to get back to me, you know, and then at that point I might be, you know, maybe only, probably end up being 30-some kids will say they're interested, and maybe after the parent emails, maybe it'll be down to 32. I don't know, I'm just giving you kind of a rough estimate of what usually happens. 3 parents might say, you know, my child is probably, I feel uncomfortable, it might be like they're too young or whatever it might be, you know. That's fine. 3, then I look at this. Is the student a dedicated member of the club? Are they regularly attending? It's critical because I only meet twice a week. I put so much into those 2 meetings that I do that because, you know, a lot of these sports, they go 5 days a week, okay? I don't want to do that with chess and all that, so I want to, but the days we do have, if they miss a time, they've missed half the week of practice, basically, and so that's why I implore you, try not to schedule the dental appointments and the haircuts for Tuesdays and Thursdays, okay? But anyway, they have to be a regular member. They can't be coming only once a week or something like that and expect to go. Okay, number 4. Does the student exhibit mature behavior? Well, you know, certainly if I take 25 kids to Florida and all that, and there's one I trust, like is he going to run off somewhere, you know, and run into town or, you know, cause a problem, you know, I typically don't want to have that. They have to have mature behavior, and I would say in 37 years I've only excluded 1 player for that reason. I just felt they weren't behaved enough. But so anyway, that usually doesn't. We're still usually right here, still at about 32 or something. All right. Number 5. Did the student attend at least 1 school chess association tournament? Those are the tournaments that are run like about twice a month during the school year. We've had a number of them already. And by the way, tournaments, they are the best way for me to help your child improve. You know, I could teach them a lot of how to play here at club, but now they have to use it in a tournament setting, And by me going over their games, that's how I can make the biggest difference in their chess, is by going to as many as they can. And so I feel that only one throughout the whole year, when there's like 2 a month, should be doable. Now, of course, I'm hoping that my students don't just do the minimum here just to get by, because if they're doing the minimum, I'll probably expect the minimum when they're out in Florida, as far as the tournament, when they're playing the best of the best from around America. Okay? Now, so here usually we're still about 32. Now, this is the one, okay, that is going to absolutely bring it down to 25 right here, or 24, or whatever it is. This is the one that always separates, because the 2 best training tournaments of the year are coming up very soon. One is the Winter Open. These are adult tournaments, but children can play. And they're run on a similar schedule to Nationals, where the kids start in the morning, 9 or 10 o'clock. They play up to 10, 11 o'clock at night. Okay, that's what happens at Nationals. Friday at Nationals, they'll be playing up to 11 o'clock at night, sometimes 11:15. Start again 9 o'clock the next morning. Go till 11:15 again. Then Sunday. So it's like I call it a mental marathon. And you have to train, just like you train for a physical marathon by running, you have to train for a mental marathon by going to one of these events that is similar to the Nationals. And at those events, the reason it's the best training event we have all year, these 2, is because if you go to an SCA tournament, if you've been to one before, you have this round, and then it's 30 minutes each or something, and it's done in like 45 minutes, and then the next game starts like 3 minutes later, and there's no time for the coaches to dig into their games and to help them improve. But at these tournaments, they're going to have like 2 hours between games on the average. So there'll be time to really, really, absolutely tear apart their game and to bring it up to speed. Okay? So, and the other thing we supply, but it's completely optional. The reason we have hotel availability at these is because when the kids go to Florida to play Nationals, they'll be staying in a hotel with their teammates, and they have to get used to that too. It's training for that. How I got to get used to that, and so that's just an option. However, so the Winter Open is coming up in 9 days. Okay, these are all weekend tournaments, so they like all Saturday, all Sunday. This one's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but it's not during school. It's Friday night. This one here. Okay, and now they have to go to one of those, but best by far is to go to both. There's no question. Because they're so powerful. Now, let's say that some of you, a whole weekend, you mean, really? Well, my kid has a Saturday night, my kid has got an event they have to be at. Well, just to make sure you're educated about this, they have something called a bye. And so if you can't play the Saturday night game, for example, you take a half-point bye, and you're not excluded from the whole tournament just because you can't be at one of the rounds. So be sure to be aware of that. Now, the registration for the Winter Open, I typically can get a much cheaper rate if you register through me. You could also register online. It'll cost you more, but the cheapest rate is through me for the Winter Open. I told them they have to get it to me this week. Okay, I have to mail it. Monday, but it'll actually go out in the mail Tuesday because there's no mail pickup, I think, on Monday. So if somehow you can get it to me by Monday, I'm putting it in the mail Tuesday morning, then they get this big money off. So that's why I told a lot of the kids, make sure to get it to me today, because like, when am I going to see them again? Unless they get to the tournament this Saturday, and already this Saturday looks, it could be rough weather-wise to even get up to Plymouth, depending on, I haven't checked the forecast in the last hour or two, so it could have changed, but I'm not even sure if I can even be able to get out of my garage to get there myself. So anyway, Minnesota Open is over Valentine's Day weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So at this point, usually I will not have enough committed players that will take the whole weekend to keep it at 32. Usually after that Minnesota Open, it might be, I don't know, 23 or something like that. I don't know what the number will be, but it drops right there. So please get even if they don't go to nationals, get them to those tournaments. And even you can see me after this meeting if you want to still get your child in for the Winter Open, for example. So I want to stop at this point because that was the most, like, such a critical piece to see if there's any questions.
Do you want to explain where they're being held?
The Winter Open is up in Roseville at the Oval, the ice skating oval. I think it's right by the police station there. But anyway, we always do a skating event there for the kids, a little skating contest. Because there's like two hours or so between rounds, I want to get them active as well. Minnesota Open will be at in Bloomington this year at the, I was just there the other day, Crown Plaza. Thank you. Yeah.
Is there concessions at those?
No, but, well, I should say this. At the Winter Open, they have hockey games there, varsity hockey games for the Roseville hockey team. And during the game, they sell concessions for the people that are going to the hockey games, so there's a little stuff there. But we will have a team of parents that will, chaperone parents, that will be driving kids who need it to fast food type places for food, okay? And some kids bring their own, that's fine too, but we'll be chaperoning kids to, like I might say, like, okay, Mrs. Stage is taking a group to Subway, who she could take 4 people who was going with her, that type of thing. So we will take care of the food, plus we'll have snacks available in the room as well. Other things on that. Okay,
Are you having a hotel room?
say it again.
Are you having a hotel room?
For both of these. Yes.
Okay, what?
Now, did the student attend at least 4 tournaments? So I don't want the students to think they can play in a tournament in Florida when they don't play the tournaments in Minnesota. Doesn't make any sense. So that's a pretty minimal, for example, if they go to the Winter Open, and the Minnesota Open, and the State Middle School, and 1 SCA tournament, for example, that would be 4. You know. But many of our kids have already gone to more than 4. They've already done that. You know, the kids that excel, they go to most of them. But I don't want to. I want to make sure you don't have to go to most of them. It's just that's what happens. All right, number 8. Now, one of the things that I've asked you to require of your kids, and you're doing a good job of it, minimum of 1 hour a week training on some of our training sites that we use to get better at chess. Which, when I started coaching 37 years ago, that was not available. No internet, and or when I was growing up as a kid. But now there's some amazing training places to go to. It's 2 of the most amazing ones that we use. ChessKid.com, which is purchased by the school district, like about a $50 gold membership for every student in the district that plays chess. So, and then Chess Magnet, which I gave everybody a free membership for 30 days back in November 5th about, and then you have to renew it yourself for a small charge. If you do it for a year, it's like $2.50 a month. If you do it for, otherwise, like for 3 months, it's like $5 a month, something like this. But regardless of that, they have to get to at least level 9 on chessmagnet.com. And a lot of our kids are not spending as much time on this one here as they should. I stepped on the plug. All right. Okay, moving on. We're working on progress charts, which track their progress in club. Like every time I teach a concept, like today for the rookies, I showed a video on a chess video on openings, okay? So when they're done seeing it, they check it off. And so it's nothing more than that. They're checking off things that they've done. So that, for example, if a student was absent today, and they could come to me like at Open Chess and say, Mr. Ribnick, I was gone the day you showed this video. Can I see it now so I could check it off? So they just have to make sure that they're on top of that and turning that in at the before they're they can go. I had one student, the closest call it ever came, one kid brought their sheet to the airport before we boarded the plane because he wasn't able to board without it. And he said, here, I finished. So that was the closest call I ever had. All right. Number 10, I talked about it because there was a previous question about lessons from a master. It's for veterans only for requirement unless they go to a equal number from their own private master they may find. Rookies need to go to at least one sample lesson. Well, I've already talked about that, so I'll...
Did you send flyers home for that?
No, but they're going out
Oh, you're gonna mail them,
next
right?
week
Okay.
in the U.S. Post mail.
Okay.
They're going out next week, early next week. So that's a good point. Did the students, now, here's another requirement. 2 of our biggest tournaments of the year is the state middle school tournament and the state elementary tournament, okay? Now, because this school has 6th graders, it's still considered by the School Chess Association, they can go to the elementary state championship, which they say goes up to 6th grade, because some elementary schools still go to 6th grade, like this district was until a few years ago, for example. So last year we were the state elementary champions, even though we're a middle school, and we were the state middle school champions, for example. So the dates of that I'll show you in a second, but they have to go to one of those 2. Also, if they want to get a letter in chess, which is a B for Burnsville, the only sport they can letter in middle school. Of course, there's almost no other activities at middle school, sadly, because of the budget cuts. But to get a letter, it's a half-size letter compared to the high school letter, but still a B for Burnsville. All they have to do is go to one of those 2. And now, if your child's a 6th grader, they could go to either one or both. If your child's a 7th or 8th grader, that's the one to absolutely save that date. Okay, even if they aren't going to nationals, then that's their big championship, is that one. All right, number 12. If the student is in the top 25 boards, that means they're on the traveling team, they have to make every effort to attend our league matches. That's like our season, which starts in 8 days. Like if I have my board 9, say, no, I'm not going to league. I'm not going to go to league. Well, that's our season. What do you mean? Like obviously if they're sick, I'm not talking about that. But there's only 5, our whole season is basically 5 days, starting in 8 days. So they have to get to those. Unless, of course, they have some major thing. I'm a reasonable guy. 13. Can the student afford the trip? We're going to make it affordable for everyone, especially if you put in your hours. It's going to be affordable, if not free. Okay? And this is the one I've never had to use in 37 years. Never had to go to 14. If there's still more than 25 students who meet the first 13 requirements, the coach will step in and decide. Decision will be made on the basis of where they are on the ladder. Players not on the top 40 boards, they may not be ready for nationals. So that's when I step in. If like 28 kids do all the requirements, I'll probably say, okay, the last 3 boards, that you probably aren't ready to go. But I've never had to do that, and I absolutely do not anticipate I'll need that this year. I could be surprised, but I don't know. All right, now, questions on that? That was one of the most important parts of the meeting.
So you've gone through a whole bunch of stuff here. You mentioned the students sharing a hotel at nationals. Are you saying that you are not anticipating all parents attending?
Well, they can. Parents can come, but there's absolutely no requirement that they come. And it was funny. Back in, I'm getting more parents that are going lately. Back in the 80s and 90s, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is. Like parents were so excited to get a break from their middle school students. They said I had to because I need a couple parents, to be chaperones, and I'll be asking for a couple. But so I had to plead just to get 2 chaperones. So, but obviously, where it will be very, very affordable for your child to go, but we probably will not have a huge amount in the budget for everyone's parent to go. But certainly you are absolutely welcome to come. Yes?
If you're a chaperone, would you cover the cost of the parent, or only if you just decide to?
If you're a chaperone, you get way reduced costs.
Okay.
Like, you know, like, I don't know what, just like no hotel fee, like maybe very minimal or half the airline fee. We would make it very affordable for the chaperone. Yes?
I have another question. So you're saying that like they start at 9 and goes to 11? Are they just like real, I mean, how do they make it? Do you have breaks where they?
Well, there are breaks.
What else, what's the other fun stuff of the trip? Like, besides chess, of course, but like, what do they do on breaks and what are the other things there?
All right, good question. That's a very good question.
There's a pool.
First of all, during the actual event itself, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, when it starts Friday afternoon on through Sunday night, all there is that there's the round, then we have a chance for a team meal and analyzing their games, and then they're back at the next game again. Okay, so there's occasionally there's a break long enough for them to take a swim in the pool there, but or go outside and throw a frisbee or something like this. But my students who go work so hard to prepare themselves for this that I always give them Monday and Tuesday for their, sometimes Sunday night too. We usually have a party Sunday night, but to have the fun part of the trip and some educational parts too. I don't want them to go to Florida and not see something, not learn about it, not, you know, like we're going to go to the ocean. I'm not, you know, we'll have lunch out at the ocean or something like that. And some kids have never seen it before. Because you know, I've taken Metcalf every year since starting with 1985 to nationals. Every year, very nicely successful tournament. This year is the last year where Metcalf is going to nationals, obviously. So we're doing it big. We're planning to do a Disney experience for the kids on after the tournament. And that is where, and some of them might choose to go to Universal Studios, but a lot of them expressed interest in the Star Wars thing at Disney, and so we're going to do it big and have it be a grand finale of Metcalf Chess on that Monday and Tuesday after the tournament, arriving home Tuesday night. But so that's where the absolute amazing fun for all the work they put in all year to be a part of this team that we do on Monday and Tuesday. I don't know, but during the actual event, it's pretty much staying on task, I guess you could put it. So I'm glad you brought that question up. All right. Okay, now we're done on that page. We can move to page 5. And that one I could probably, well, page 5 really is the schedule of what's coming up this year. Okay, what do we got for you? We got, for example, the league dates are all on here. Like here, Friday, February 21st, rounds 7 and 8. Where's it going to be at? Metcalf. February 28th, where's it going to be at? Heritage Middle School, West St. Paul, etc. When is the the Twin Cities Junior High tournament? Or middle school tournament, I guess I should call it, middle school. That's the one that, that's like one of the requirements, either that one or the state elementary is right here. This is the state middle school tournament is, wait, that's in the wrong place. Here it is, sorry. Look at your own sheet, Ribney. State middle school tournament is March 7th and 8th. Also at the Crown Plaza in Bloomington. Okay? Now, even though we're not selling, it's a long story, but we got aced out of selling food anymore this year, but we're still selling chess equipment. And I have a double star at each event that we're selling chess equipment at. And you could earn hours for your shares by selling chess equipment. For example, Angela has picked up the equipment today. She's selling this Saturday, provided she can get there, you know, that type of thing, you know. The weather could, so that is what these double stars mean. And you can see the rest of the SEA tournaments are on there. Here's the Minnesota Open, the Big E, the Minnesota Open. This is the state championship, by the way, for all ages, what that is. Even you can enter that one. The state championship, for all ages. So they'll be playing adults. Questions on that page? All right, we're moving. Okay, get moving with me. Let's move to page 6 then. See, is there anything on page 6 that's worth talking about? Oh no, that was also in the. This was also in the in December meeting. Just a review of who's currently on the booster club, and the fact that, as Ann said, we will have a couple openings due to graduations and this and that, and we hope to fill. Hope you'll consider filling those for next year. And next year, I guess it's the Nicollet P team. I'm hoping your kids will be there. All right, that's page 6. Page 7. We're almost done. Wow. Page 7. I want to talk about the scholarship deal right here. We are trying to make chess accessible to all the students, even if they're a big financial need. So, like, anytime there's a need for some help, serious need, like let's say even this Sunday is our big Lifetime Fitness party. Oh my, that's, you know, for whatever reason, look, we can't handle the whole 20. You know, I usually like for an event that you could, I'm really into partial scholarships. So like you could say, I could really only handle 10. Can you give us a scholarship for the rest? And I'll almost always say yes. You know, that includes things like, you know, when I suddenly tell you that, hey, I've got the tickets for Orlando, for the airfare, they're $120. You know, do you want one for your child or for yourself included? Then if you say, hey, I could only do half that, can you help us with a scholarship? So ask me about scholarships. We have some money designated for scholarships, so don't be afraid to ask me. Okay, I think we talked about the fundraising committee shares. Okay, now originally the amount of money needed for a share. Now some people ask me, how much is a share worth? It varies every year. It totally depends on how much money we take in. There's a formula we use, but you know, in the past, share has been all the way up to over $500 a share. This type of thing, and for example, the people on the P team, some of them already get 1 or 2 shares for being on that, so they could go up to three shares, for example. And remember, we had that a couple years ago. Someone, you know, they were able to have $1,500 from it, for example. So I don't know how much a share will be this year, but it looks like it could be pretty good. But it was going to be, originally I told you all, it was 24 hours if you're a parent of a rookie or 30 hours for a parent of a veteran. Okay? Because of losing our sales of food, we've had to revise everything, and including if you spent any hours at the earlier things, like some of you were at the fire muster. Raise your hand. Who's selling the fire muster? Okay, well, we're going to now put those hours in. And we're going to put hours if you did Von Hansen's or hours if you did bagging in the fall. All those combined. So we've revamped because of that. We were upping these numbers because some of you already have 24 or more than that. So it's now, for a rookie, it'd be 32 hours for a full share. And for a veteran, it's 38 hours. Now let's say you're, oh my gosh, that I cannot, I work on weekends or whatever, I can't do it. Okay, fine. Let's say you can only put 16 hours in. It doesn't mean you get nothing. You get half a share. Okay? And this year, we can even help you out if you want to do more than increase that. You get more than a share. But, now, here are the opportunities coming up to get these hours. and the dates. Ann talked about them, but not the dates. So she talked about one date, I think. Some of the things you could do is by selling this equipment at the tournaments. I've already talked about that double star on the schedule. Okay, and Ann will be sending out sign-up geniuses for all these things, right? Is that correct, Ann?
Yes, sir.
So, for example, here's for cub bagging, usually what do we have, Ann? You could have, a parent could come, or a child, or both together, or one of the two, right? It could be any combination of that. Yes. And we're bagging groceries for people, and we've been making some big money at this, okay? I don't know how we got this weekend, but it's a magic, because I believe that's Super Bowl weekend.
I called them and sweet talked them into getting us Sunday.
Okay, you just don't know how good that is that we got Super Bowl weekend. Okay, that's like, usually you have to book that 3 years in advance. Okay, that's going to be some serious money. So it's a little bit busy here in February, 3 of the first 9 days, you know. And there's another Cub in March. We have our silent auction, March 21st. That you'll be able to help get some hours monitoring and things like that. The tap room event, April 3rd, I think. That's an tentative date, somewhere in April. That's just tentative right now. There you can help, run games, or what are the other things we do with that?
Help set up, take down,
Yeah, that type of thing.
some tickets at the door, 2 tickets at the door.
Run games, and those types of things. And then Von Hansen's, this one is the first fundraiser for the Nicola team for 2021. Von Hansen's event on May 30th and 31st, where we, all right. Then I want to re-emphasize the pizza fundraiser. The more pizzas we sell, if we sell, what's the magic number, Ann?
500.
If we sell 500 pizzas, they get an extra,
They get an extra 25 cents per pizza. So if they get $4.50 under 500 pizzas, if they go 500 or more, they get $4.75 a pizza into their.
uncle or whatever, hey, can you help buy a pizza to help support our team, you know? And so I'm hoping all your kids are currently heavily involved in this, and a lot of parents will bring it to their work and, you know, put that little card out at work, you know, can you help we're trying to raise money for Florida for our chess team. We're nationally known and this and that. So, and this money, again, as Ann said, there's no money that goes anywhere else but your account. Except, of course, the money we have to send to the pizza company to buy the pizzas, but there's nothing else. It goes right to their account. Every one of your kids currently has an account in our bank that if you put in hours or if you buy pizzas, and again, this could be used, maybe they want to go to this, all they want to do this year is go to the state middle school tournament, and it might be $25 and they can't afford it. Okay, you've got money in your account. You could use it for any chess thing this year, or if they're on the team next year, they could save it and use it then. Doesn't have to be even used this year at all. But it starts putting money to their account. So I'm hoping all of you are working on this, and can you remind us, Ann, when the deadline is?
The last day of pizza money and forms have to be in to me is February 28th.
No, wait, isn't it January?
January.
I'm sorry, January.
Don't scare us.
It's on the form, they printed it off. January 28th, it's Tuesday at club, unless you call me and meet up with me indirectly if your child isn't ready, but it's got to be on the 28th.
So they bring it to club that day, their final totals, and then I get it to Ann, and she takes it from there.
Is it February 12th? Is that the pickup date?
That's
One
the
day
pickup.
said a Tuesday and one said a Wednesday. Is it a Wednesday?
The 11th is a Tuesday.
Yeah,
Wednesday the 12th?
I have to go off their delivery.
I feel like I saw
One
a
was
Tuesday
the-
and something
yeah.
said the 12th, so I wanted to make sure which one it was. Angela, you're saying what?
I don't know. I don't know
They
myself.
made the forms, I didn't make the forms. Okay, so first of all, that's not my fault. Second of all, I will contact the company for sure again. I'm pretty sure they said the 12th, and I know that's what they put on the forms. I'll send out another email to everybody, making sure we got the right day and the deadline.
Okay. Other questions that might be helpful for like everyone to hear?
Is there a way to check their students' balance? We
I know mine is called Carrollton.
Well, we keep that,
Most of the money is moved in right about a week or so before nationals, when we kind of we know how much the share is worth, and then we deposit in their account. I think the only place that that's already in there is like if they didn't use it all last year. Can you think of any other reason there'd be something in their account right now? I mean, I can't think of anything.
We carried money over from last year,
Yes,
so.
but most of that will all of a sudden, when we start putting in their account, is when we know how much a share is, which we won't know till a couple weeks before Florida. Then all of a sudden, we just put money in their account at that time, because we'll know how much a share is then. And we can start divvying it out.
So if we had money in there last year, it'll carry over to this year?
Yes, it
Perfect.
carries over.
Hi, everybody. Bye.
Any other questions? Yes,
Sorry, I'm the rookie parent.
please.
I have a question. So basically, to go to nationals, what if you can't fundraise for 32 hours? You just pay, but your kid still wants to go to national and meets the rest of the requirements, you just pay the extra that they're missing?
Well, I mean, for example, let's say this year, I don't know, let's say nationals costs, I'm just making up a number, let's say it costs $700, okay? Let's just say that's the cost for nationals this year for a kid. And let's say that a full share this year is $450, okay? Then the whole cost for the whole 5-day trip would be what? $250. I used to teach math, I should know. So, but let's say, oh no, I can't do all those 32 hours. You know, I can only do, a little bit less than that. So then your share, let's say you're less than 32. So yours comes to $350 in your share. Then your cost might be $350, but if some of that, let's say, Coach, I can really only afford $250 for this whole trip, then can I have a scholarship for the rest? And I'll probably look at the budget, I'll probably say, sure, we'll scholarship you for the other 100. Because not everyone has the time to put in all those hours, and I understand that. And so all I'm saying is that for us to be successful, we need your kids there, and I'll do everything I can to make it so money is not going to stop them from going. That's all I can tell you, and we have a phenomenal system set in place that we can make that dream come true for your kids. And the best experience they'll have for like probably the rest of their lives for something, most amazing experience they've ever had in middle school. That's what I'm hoping it'll be this year. Other questions? What I'll do for some of you might have private, individual type questions, and then Ann and myself will remain after the meeting for those types of things, okay? All I can say is thank you on this cold night for braving. It's a good thing it wasn't tomorrow night, this meeting, because I heard it's supposed to be a few inches of snow, but thank you for braving the cold and being here, and thank you for your children for participating in this. I hope it's been a great experience, and I promise you it's going to be even better going forward. It gets really busy now, by the way. Like, the quiet part of the season is over. Now we've got lessons and weekend tournaments, but it's also crazily fun and amazing, and they're going to improve like you would not believe in the next few months, I promise. So with that, thank you for coming. Take those packets home with you and stay around for any questions you might have. Have a good night.
Mr. Rickman.
I'm gonna hit the lights here. The first top two parts here. Oh, that's really good. By the way, do you know what this thing? Ever heard of one of these things? Like, I mean, I retired here at Metcalf a couple of years ago, and I was the last one that used this. And I look at this, I still do. So this is called an overhead projector, and the kids are like fascinated with it. How does that work? So funny, but I put up little animals and things like that. Like I like to when I taught, I taught math and science here, 38 years. I like to look at my students, right? Like, and when I'm doing the overhead projector, I can see them. And when I'm, the people that work on the PowerPoints and the whatever they're called, the smart boards, they're looking this way all the time. So anyway, I don't know why I'm giving you overhead stories, but anyway. And whose glasses are these?
Oh, they're mine.
Oh.